Welcome back to my YouTube channel Supercar Sunday. We're back on with the Audi A1, and in this video we're going to be looking at the filler work and the paint work on the car. And if you remember, in the last video I made up a sill for this car out of some scrap metal I had left off another sill repair. And here's a clip to show you how bad the damage was to the sill before I started the job. Back to the filler work. Now we've got the filler mixed up, we're going to take a look at putting it in the panel. First things first, strip the paint off the panel so you've got bare metal and feather out the edges. Now it's been a while since I did this job, but I'm guessing I probably removed the paint with a poly strip wheel. Afterwards I would have feathered out the edges with 120 on a DA and then a 240. With that done, it's then safe to apply the filler, and the filler I'm using here is a U-Pole Dolphin and it's for deep dents. While we're on, I'll just mention that I will put some links for some of the products I use in the comments. You can probably hear me heavy breathing in the video, and that's because I've got a mask on. So you want a mask on at all time when you're using filler, because it absolutely stinks and it is not very good for your health at all. When applying filler to the panel, it's worth mentioning that the better you get the filler in, the easier it will be to sand it down. So just worth mentioning before I put the filler in, these dents were pulled out first with my weld-on spot dent puller. Now for that sill repair. So the sill, where I welded it all, I filled over the welds with a harder metal filler first. I've sanded that down and now I'm going over it with this U-Pole filler for deep dents. So I'm just going to jump this along a bit now, keep things moving, keep things interesting. So I got that load of filler in the car, and while it was going off I decided to get my cleaner machine out and start doing a bit of cleaning on the car because it's an absolute state. I thought I may as well do something, give it a bit of a hoover and a tidy up. So it's just doing jobs in between jobs to get your job done quicker really. So I give it a bit of a hoover out, and I got my shampoo machine out, and I give them soiled seats a good spray over, a good soak with some G101 in the machine, and they come up really well. I give them a good clean. I couldn't believe how well it got all that filthy dirt out of the seats. They come up really, really well. So this was just another little job I wanted to show while I was waiting for the filler to go off. I didn't spend too long doing this. Probably 10 or 15 minutes. I got grafted on, but it's something else that I got done. So I got them seats shampooed up, and now really the car just wants a good hoover out. But worth mentioning, just doing another job within the jobs I'm doing on the vehicle to get the whole overall job done a lot quicker. So yeah, a bit of multitasking really. Anyway, I just thought I would slip that in the video, and now we'll get back on to the filler work. So I knocked the top of that filler down with the DA. The DA is a merker and it is connected up to an extraction system to keep the dust down in the workshop. Once that filler was knocked down with a dual action sander, I went at it with a block. So a nice flat long bed block to knock it down nice and even. And this is what I'm talking about. So again, it's a long bed block, long flat block, and it's got extraction going to it again to keep the dust down in the workshop. I've got various size blocks. It just all depends on what repair you're doing to what size block you need. Bigger areas will need a longer block. However, sometimes if there's curves, like here, you might need a shorter block to work your way around that curve. And the way to tell if the filler is right, if it's actually ready for the primer, is not by looking at it, it's actually by feeling it. So rub your hand over it and see if you can feel any lumps and bumps. If it feels nice and smooth and flat with no lumps and bumps, well then you're ready for primer. With everything now in primer, it was time to sand that primer down and prep everything up ready for paint. To knock the primer down, I used a 240 grit on various blocks. Again, I was using extraction when I did this to keep the dust down. When it come to the door on the car, I hit this first with a DA and I had a 500 disc on that. So the DA was alright to knock this area down. It's a nice flat quality DA and it took it down nice. Most body shops nowadays tend to flat everything down and prep them up dry with a DA or by hand. It's not something that I'm really a fan of, but it's my own car and it's what I'm selling. It's going to look good enough and it's white, so it won't show everything up. However, as I say, a lot of body shops, they do seem to do everything this way, prepping them up this way, and I do think they do it just for speed. So yeah, not really a fan of this. I like to do things the old-fashioned way, and that's using wet or dry on a block. So I decided to finish it all off by hand, and I went over it first with some wet or dry. So I used some 800 and then I'm going over it now. This is just a Scotch pad and I'm using some prep and blend paste with this. So this preps the job up really well and it makes a really decent key for that paint to stick to. So I've got the car all prepped up ready for paint, but another little job that I had to do was put that stone chip line along the bottom of the sill. I blended the line in with the rest of the stone chip already on the car. I demasked it and then we were ready for paint. I started the job by painting the replacement door. The paint colour for this car, by the way, is candyweiss and the code is LB9A, candyweiss, something like that. And I've started off by applying the base coat with my Anest Iwata LS400 spray gun. So this is a very good spray gun for base coat paints. It atomises the paint very well. It's really good for metallic colours. However, it does need a high volume of air to operate. And another thing I'll mention is it is quite an expensive gun, and so are the parts, which I found out recently as I broke the pot and a new pot is over £100. Onto the quarter panel now, so you'll see I've already got some paint on this. This paint I'm putting on isn't actually the colour of the car, it's actually a base coat of a 3-stage pearl for a BMW that I did. Onto the wing, and I think this is actually the colour now of the car in the pot. So this white, it's a candyweiss or something like that it's called. It is quite a mucky white and it's a pearl coat. If you look carefully, you'll see as I'm putting this on, I'm just drying the paint a little bit with the air out the gun. So I'm not pulling the trigger all the way in, I'm just pulling it halfway in so you're getting just the air, and that's actually drying the base coat slightly in between while I'm putting it on. We'll jump forward onto the lacquer now, and I'm going to be putting the lacquer on with a different gun. So this is a WS400, the Anest Iwata WS400 spray gun that I'm using here to put the lacquer on with. You'll see I've got a light on the gun, it's just a head torch that I use and it helps me see the coverage of the lacquer when I'm applying it to the panel. So I do all the edges first and then I do the fronts of the panels afterwards, the main area of the panel afterwards. And the reason for doing this is so that you don't get any overspray on the front of the panel when you're doing all the edges. So it makes sense really. Get the backs done first, whip round all the backs, all the edges, all the little areas, and then straight onto the front of the panel to finish. So I'm on the last coat of lacquer now, and all in all I put 2 coats on. The first coat I'm usually 2.5 turns out on the needle, and on the second coat I'm usually 3 turns out on the needle. So I'm not quite sure what lacquer I'm using here. It's either a Max Mia, Pro XL, it could even be a Roberlo. I really can't remember what I used on this job. But generally, my system there, as I say, on the needle, it's 2.5 turns out on the first coat, and on the second coat it's generally 3 out, and that gets me a decent enough finish. So the Iwata WS400 can be quite a pain to set up. They're definitely not for first time paint sprayers, but once you get used to them they are an absolute fantastic gun. So that's the job done. It's all in paint. Looks alright. Probably need a bit of a flattener polish, but I'll get it all built up first. The sill repair, it's not perfect, but it certainly looks a lot better than when it was all stoved in. So that was now a big job now complete. All the filler work done, all in paint. Now all I had to do was get it back together. So I started this job by getting the door on the car. This made sense. Get the door on the car and it can't get damaged. And while we're talking about the door and it getting damaged, no, it's not resting on the floor. It's actually on a couple of layers of cardboard. So as you can see, this is quite a heavy door and it's quite awkward. I managed to lift it on successfully without doing any damage, drop the pins in, and I think it had a couple of like female torques to hold it on. So I just put them in and tightened them up and it held the door on. And as I was fitting the door, my wife invited herself into my video to give me a kiss before she went off to work. That's looking pretty good, that. I'm happy with that. I got the door built up, started to get some bits on, got the mirror on and the trim. It started to look good. There was some marks on the mirror, so I got them polished off with some buffing compound by hand and give it all a good general clean up. But as you can see now, the job is starting to look really well. So the next job I want to do to this car is I want to get some wax oil inside that sill just to protect it, and then I'm going to probably call it a day on this video and I'll finish it off in the next video. We'll get the front end done, get it all built up, and yeah, it's going to be pretty much there. So this is the wax oil I've got, and it's just an aerosol one, and it comes with a tube on it, and I can get that through a hole in the sill, so I can give the sill a right good spray inside to help protect it. And while I'm doing this, I just want to say I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you want to see more videos on this car, the videos I've done before this one, I'm going to put a playlist up, so you should see that come up around about now. Click on the playlist, check out the videos, and don't forget to subscribe to see future videos. Feel free to go to the channel and check out all my other content. Thanks again for watching.